We find out the outcome of the first banishment vote while the daggers are being filed in the conclave. I just have to say that I'm not doing so well in trying to guess the outcomes of the cliffhangers so far. I failed in guessing who the third traitor was, and this time I failed in who I thought Harrison would cast to decide and vote for. I was certain Harrison wasn't going to change his vote from Elliot to Ryan, but he did. Harrison's words were, "This is why pitches are important." Ryan's failure to defend himself clearly worked against him, as he became the first banished player. This meant the 2 players with names beginning with R have now been eliminated from the game. When Keanu was talking in his commentary about putting on a show, I was wondering, where's the show he's putting on? Is the show in the room with us? Why is Keanu getting on like he did something? The Ryan banishment had nothing to do with him, as his name was going around without his input. This so-called show of his is the equivalent of the mission from episode 2. Maybe there's something bigger to come. There has to be, because it needs something to get out of the "it's okay" status I currently have it in. Maybe the beginning of friction between the traitors might be the spark that I'm looking for. When it came to the possible next victim, Keanu suggested Jimena, Bradley suggested Marua, while Jill suggested Samantha. We've barely seen Jimena in the edit, so I felt like I was missing context for the kind of havoc Keanu thought getting rid of Jimena would actually cause. While Keanu was looking to get his way and Bradley sensing Keanu wants to be the dominant traitor, this was going to be the beginning of who outlasts the other. This doesn't necessarily guarantee one of them will actually win. I've seen many times that the one that wants to be in charge ends up failing to win. What was clear to me was that the conclave wasn't going to be harmonious for very long. As we later find out, maybe the traitors have more to worry about than each other. In the end, Keanu got his way and Jimena was the latest victim of the traitors. As Jimena had originally voted for Aaron, would Aaron be the latest casualty at the round table? Aaron, sensing the setup by the traitors, pulled Samantha aside to let her know who he thinks is a traitor. Aaron and Samantha had the same name, and that name was Bradley. I was not expecting a correct name this early in the game. I did wonder if those who heard the conversation involving Rachel and Bradley before Rachel's murder would remember it. Samantha did, and had it as one of her data points against Bradley. Meanwhile, Bradley started the ball rolling with Jill to possibly oust Keanu, not knowing that Keanu and Jill have a pact, though I don't know how strong that pact really is, so this added tension will test it. The mission had the players in a dark warehouse where they were tasked with trying to find silver that had been hidden. There was a potential $9,000 that could be added to the prize pot. There were also 5 shields hidden away. They just had a small obstacle of a masked figure that was going to hunt them down. Any players found by the masked figure were out of the mission, and any silver on them would be lost. When the lights turned red, they had seconds to hide before the lights went out and the masked figure started looking for them. The masked figure wasn't really scary when he shouted, "You're found!" though he did scare a couple of them. I could tell he was a little new to the role, as he didn't have that extra edge in his voice that comes from the experience of being a masked figure. The funniest moment for me was when Elliot said to the masked figure,
"You're so ugly, bro."
It just felt so random for Elliot to say it. The masked figure took $2,500 away from the players he found, while the remaining players found $4,000. There were only a couple of shields found, and it would be best for Kate and Maria to keep that secret to themselves. My assessment of the masked figure being a newbie was correct. As it turned out, it was Michael all along. No wonder I didn't find him scary. I knew we wouldn't see the last of Michael. You can't fool me with these temporary exits. I give production small props for finding a slightly different way in going about it. With the $5,000 Michael got from his first episode exit and the $2,500 he took from the mission, Michael could put the $7,500 into the prize pot and enter the game or walk away with it. Michael really did just want to play the game and chose to put the money into the prize pot. I'm not sure what I would have done in that situation. I like to think I would want in on the game and do the same as Michael, but it would truly depend on how I'm feeling at the time. Thinking about it, after going through all the steps to get there, then I would have to see it through and play the game properly. Let me know in the comments if you would take the money or put it in the pot so you could play. Kate and Bradley were the main names being mentioned before the round table, which was good news for Elliot as I thought he would be toast after Ryan's banishment. Jill informed Keanu about it and that Bradley wants him out, but he didn't want to jump in on that until he was ready to. The confidence Samantha had to bring Bradley's name to the table diminished when Chloe couldn't remember witnessing the Rachel and Bradley conversation, which meant Bradley's name didn't end up being brought up at the round table. Kate was not doing herself any favours when she spoke. It wasn't on the same lines as Ryan from the previous episode, but Kate didn't seem like she was convincing many of her innocence. Aaron seemed to do a good job for his case. Him bringing up the suspicions on him and the votes he received looked like a positive to others. Debbie voted for Samantha based on her behaviour changing that night. Apparently wanting to find traitors is suspicious as opposed to Debbie just having chats. After the first episode, I thought Jill couldn't keep relying on the act of not having a clue, and this round table it really put her under the microscope. I was really surprised Michael was given a vote seeing as he was barely back in the game. I thought it would be the case of Michael just observing and he couldn't vote or be voted for. It was very interesting that Michael ended up voting for Jill instead of Kate. Jill needs to get in the game as far as the Faithfuls are concerned, as they're all noticing that she's not contributing to finding traitors. Jill ended up receiving a vote from James in addition to Michael. James's reasoning was that he wanted to see Jill's reaction and that it's now made him believe she's a Faithful. Make of that as you will. The majority of the votes were for Kate, as she ended up being the second banishment of the season. The three traitors are at the beginning of what might end up being a mess. Bradley is trying to jump ship from Team Jill to jump aboard Team Keanu, but Keanu is just appeasing him. Jill needs to adjust her game plan or Bradley is going to push to get her banished. Will the next episode be the time that Keanu goes for Bradley, or will he let this play out first? Until next time.